Hello, welcome back. Thank you again for joining me here. We're going to have one of these conversations today that's very, very important to pay attention to because it goes directly to our own motivation for doing this course, for even being on the spiritual path in the first place. You could actually say this about each and every one of these conversations, because in truth, the video that you're watching, or the passage that you're reading, or the forgiveness practice that you're doing right now is the most important. It's what you're working on, looking at, and doing right now that is the most important for many reasons. The main one being we have only the present moment. The past is gone. The future's not yet here. What we're doing right now, is what truly matters. So, with that in mind, we're getting specific today about your motivation for doing this course. And please don't feel singled out. There is no separation of any kind. So we're talking about all of us here by definition. We're specifically taking a look at chapter 20, section 7 of the text of A Course in Miracles, which is known as the consistency of means and end. And we'll be talking about means and end here. In particular, today, we're looking at paragraphs 1 through 3. So, as always, you're most welcome to follow along. The course itself is big, it's thick, and people are very, very fond of saying that it's so complicated. Well, it's not. In fact, it's very simple and very direct. All of the apparent complications come from us. We introduce them, all of them. This is true not only of the study and practice of A Course in Miracles, but also of the entirety of life. We introduce all of the drama, all of the complications ourselves. Truth is very simple. This course, which points to it, is very simple too. We're the ones that introduce all of the complications, which isn't difficult to see when we really take a look. We're invited to do just that, to take a look, an honest look. It's said right here in this section of the text and throughout and in other places. This course asks very little of us, yet offers so much. So in life, think about it. Where else are you going to find something that asks so little of you, yet offers everything so, so much? What's asked of us, what the Course refers to as a little willingness. Little willingness. That's a phrase that runs throughout A Course in Miracles, and it's worth coming back to and calling our attention to over and over again. That's what we bring, a little willingness to allow the Holy Spirit to guide us. Even if we can only muster a fraction of a second, that is enough. The Holy Spirit's work, effort, whatever you want to call it, is whole And his presence, its presence is total. And even if all you can give is a fraction of a second, that's enough. It's more than enough. The Holy Spirit rushes in and enters totally and completely. We have only to follow its guidance. So, of course, for the main reason that we still wish to see ourselves as an individual, we find this threatening and we say it's complicated and hard. It's not. So when the Course talks here about means and end, we've all recognized that we want the goal, the end. You can substitute those two words interchangeably. We all want the goal, the peace of God. That's all we all want, bottom line, because that's all that there is. So naturally, it's what we want. We all want the goal, and there are specific means, specific practices, a specific way to attain the goal. Kind of just like in life, where there are things to do, practices to put in place, steps for things here in the world to attain a goal, whether it's fixing something that's broken or whether there are countless examples. So we're invited here to take a look, a deep, adult, and honest look at our motivation here. Mm. I mean, really, we're invited to honestly take a look at what we're doing, what we're thinking, what we're saying, how we're acting, how we're approaching this profound material that will lead us home, so to speak, which we acknowledge, all of us. Deep down, we acknowledge that's what we want. So why are we not also accepting the means, the way to get there, the way to do it, true forgiveness of the Son of God, and yourself for dreaming all of this stuff, and the world, and all of it? I mean, can we really be honest and say, okay, well, I want the goal, but I'm not willing to accept the means to get there? It's kind of what we're doing. I mean, truly, that's what's going on. We say we want the peace of God, yet we're not willing to forgive. And we do this throughout life. We do. We do it in all aspects of life. Spirituality is no different. So if we do it in our work lives, if we do it in our relationships, if we do it everywhere as we run amok here, it naturally follows that we're going to be severely tempted to do it here as well because it's habit. Enter this course, which is teaching us new habits, but we have to put them into practice, accept the means, and do them. I mean, if we're really honest, you may deep down acknowledge that you want the goal, but in order to have that, you've got to accept the means also and bring them all into line. That's the underlying message here, and it's the explicit message of these first three paragraphs of chapter 20, section 7. Yeah, bringing the means and the end into line. In other words, accepting that, okay, I want the peace of God. Here's how to bring it about. It already is. You don't have to actually go and get it and grab it. It's what deep down is. What looks like a process of forgiveness, forgiveness, forgiveness is in setting aside the ego and, in fact, allowing truth to be just as it is. There is a practice that this course suggests and presents for us to do. We learn this course by doing it. Why is that so important, and why do we continually stress it? I mean, it certainly feels like that comes up in every single video, and it probably does. That's how we learn this material. It certainly has some value, for sure, to understand and get these teachings with the intellectual thinking mind, this razor-like scalpel that we so esteem and worship and we've spent years cultivating and that the world just adores. This incisive breakdown, cutting, and dividing mind. It's one thing to understand these teachings in that way, has value. It's nothing compared to the practical value of experience. Spirituality, in all its forms, not just this one, is all about experience. We learn by doing. We take these ideas, whatever understanding of them we may have at the time, which might be very little, doesn't mean you still can't put it into practice. And we take these ideas and we apply them. We forgive. Anything that's not wholly joyous is an opportunity to forgive. The key components and the verbiage varies according to the guidance of your inner teacher. Key component, forgive whatever appears in your experience. Forgive yourself for dreaming it. It's your dream. Forgive yourself for dreaming it, and switch to the Holy Spirit's thought instead of the ego's. And what I often do is release all of this to the Holy Spirit. Very, very important. I mean, he knows what to do with all of this. We don't, so we ask for help. So it's this practice. Something critically important happens here as we put these teachings into practice, and I just can't stress it enough. It's so, so important. Our experience shows us these ideas are true. It demonstrates to us, and if you want proof, we love proof here in the world. Prove it. Well, okay, you prove it to yourself. That's how we do it. Our experience, putting these teachings into practice, legitimately, genuinely, and honestly putting them into practice is how we learn. Our experience shows us these ideas are true. That is visceral, it's experiential, and it's powerful. And, well, that's the best way to do it. Much more effective than simply understanding these teachings with the intellectual thinking mind. In fact, in some of the explanations of the workbook for students, Jesus flat out says you don't have to understand these ideas in order to put them into practice. If you do, fantastic. If you don't, that's all right. And if you think you barely do, so what? Don't let that delay you and stop you. All that's required of us is we bring our little willingness to do it, and then we just do it under the guidance of the Holy Spirit. And the more we do it, the more able to hear our inner teacher's voice we become. And if you've been doing this for a while, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So we keep going with this. And part of this honesty that all of spirituality involves, I mean, every single spiritual tradition asks this of us, deep honesty. That's why I'm fond of saying this is for grown-ups. It is, it's totally for grown-ups. It's an adult endeavor to the core, right? Because we look at all of our drama and forgive and release it. It comes up. So we're aware of it. We're present for it to come up so we can forgive and release it. And when we get stifled or scared or afraid or nervous, it's because the purpose scares us, the goal, which of course we say that we want, and we deep down want above all else. There is, again, nothing else. So, yes, of course, that's what we all want, but that can show up as scary. If you've done this for any length of time, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And even if you're not a course student, you still know exactly what I'm talking about from your own experiences with spirituality. And whatever practice or practices from the traditional religions onto every single living thing, including modalities that someone dreamed up last week, there's a lot of different stuff out there. Based on your experience, you know that this is true, right? We get frightened. And when we do, it's because the purpose, the peace of God, frightens us. Why does it frighten us? It's the ego that's frightened. Well, the ego doesn't really recognize any of the teachings of the Holy Spirit, this course, or truth in general. It does perceive a threat, an existential threat. And when we side with the ego, we're afraid of awakening. We are. We're afraid of the peace of God because we believe that it means our oblivion and extinguishment. On the contrary, I mean, it's the ego's end, but the ego is not you. Individuality, specialness is not you. And when the Course says specialness, it's a separation idea. We get this idea when we're in our own mind separate from other people, or a group of people that we love and adore is separate from other groups of people whom we don't love as much. Yet love is either total or it's not at all. So this course certainly gives us plenty to think about on the level of our day to day, moment to moment motivation. If you say you want the end, are you willing to accept the means as well? And when and if you answer yes, you know what starts to happen then. So I invite you to put that into practice. All right. So deep stuff, as always. Honestly, you deserve nothing less than this depth. We all play it so small in life. We do. We play it small sometimes in our relationships. We play it small in our careers. Why? We don't have to. You deserve this full on truth. You deserve nothing less than a deep and honest discussion so you can decide for yourself to put the means into practice, to put true forgiveness and extending love into practice in your daily life. The results will blow your mind. And if you've had your mind blown by all of this already, again, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't yet, well, do it. Step out on the path and forgive and keep doing it. Wash, rinse, repeat. Yes, you will see. So, with that, I thank you for tuning in here. There's a lot of content out there, and you're here, which has a lot of significance. Tremendous. That's an understatement. Those are just words. I hope you get the sheer importance of your being here and taking time out of your hectic and busy days to show up and listen to the message of our inner teacher. It is just more important than we can all even imagine. And we certainly can't quantify it. So I thank you very, very much for that. If you have not yet subscribed, I'd like to invite you to please go ahead and do that. This is an international community, which is very cool. It's growing. This is the prompt in the corner of your screen. It's been here for the past few minutes in the form of an arrow. Click that, and in a few seconds, another image with this pixelated image's picture is going to pop up. Same prompt, hit that. You'll be invited to subscribe and join us. Now, questions are more than welcome here. This comment thread on YouTube is an excellent place, should you have a question, to go ahead and drop it in here. And either I will answer it right there in the comment thread itself, or, and this is highly likely because we can say so much about all of this, it's highly likely that if there's a question in there, that it will take too much cyberspace to type out the answer. I'll simply record a standalone video or a series of them on this topic. And when we do that, you can bet that your question is having a major impact on people all over the world. Because we never know what exactly is on someone's mind. And we show up and we forgive, we show up and we extend love because we never know what's going to illuminate someone's mind on a given day. We just don't have any idea when that proverbial light is going to come on for someone. So questions are always, always more than welcome. And I thank you very much for being here today. I will talk to you all very soon.